Meet the orphan best girls who run a cafe and are low-key deadly assassins. They serve coffee and sweets to people, but also kill terrorists to keep world peace. Takina Inoue is a top-tier agent with some serious anger issues, and her partner, Chisato Nishikigi, is a total prodigy with fun best girl personality. Can they handle their double lives and keep everyone safe? It all started with a hyperactive young woman named Chisato, who gets called into an urgent situation at work. On the way, she explains that to maintain national harmony, a special group called Lycoris eliminates those who disrupt society. In another location, a team of Lycoris confronts illegal arms dealers. The dealers hold Lycoris hostage, threatening to kill her if the others don't leave. The leader instructs them to wait for Chisato's arrival, but a hot-headed, smooth-brained Lycoris named Takina disobeys orders and opens fire with a machine gun. Another Lycoris, Fuki, is furious at Takina's recklessness, fearing they could have injured the hostage. Chisato arrives too late to intervene, so she leaves. The DA transfers Takina to a disciplinary unit due to her insubordination and recklessness. This unit operates out of a seemingly ordinary coffee shop. There, Takina meets Mika, an adult man, Mizuki, a woman with a big heart, and Chisato, who used to be Lycoris, but was transferred for similar reasons. After introductions, Chisato takes Takina to learn about the tower incident, where Chisato single-handedly confronts terrorists, causing the tower's destruction. Takina expresses a desire to return to the DA. Takina is assigned menial tasks with Chisato, such as delivering coffee and teaching at a school. Confused about their unit's purpose, Chisato explains that question. Chisato explains that they assist those in need. At a police station, they receive a job from an officer. A woman named Sayori is being stalked. Chisato and Takina meet Sayori, who shows them a photo. Since posting it online, she's been followed. In the background of the photo, Chisato and Takina spot a notorious degenerate criminal group known for stealing weapons. Chisato invites Sayori to stay with them for safety. Sayori agrees and leads them to her house. Chisato asks Takina to accompany Sayori while she runs errands back home. While en route to Sayori's house, Takina notices a suspicious car following them. Separated momentarily from Sayori, Takina witnesses the car corner Sayori and attempts to abduct her. Reacting swiftly, Takina pulls out her gun and shoots at the men in the car. As Chisato arrived at that moment, she wisely told Takina, a hot-headed smooth brain, to hold off on shooting, as there might be the possibility of Sayori getting shot. Chisato, ever resourceful, asks Takina to eliminate a hovering device spying on them. She precisely disarms the criminal's bullets designed to subdue rather than kill, rescuing Sayori. Meanwhile, a tense conversation unfolds online. Two figures in a car discuss the situation with a hacker known as Walnut. They question why the Allen organization, notorious for criminal activity, would be involved in arms dealing. To silence Walnut's curiosity and potential threat, they detonate a bomb in his home. Later, one of the men involved in the explosion walks into the coffee shop, surprising Mika. While this man converses with Mika and Walnut, another hacker communicates with Walnut online. This second hacker mentions the Allen Institute, an organization that gathers exceptional but disadvantaged individuals. Walnut, suspicious, asks if this hacker revealed their location to the Allens. The hacker laughs, hinting at a desire to usurp the title of world's greatest hacker.
Stop the cap!
Back at the coffee shop, Mizuki receives an email from Walnut. Soon after, the best girl, Chisato, arrives and encounters the man who destroyed Walnut's home, having a tense conversation. As the person leaves, Chisato and Takina then prepare for a mission to safeguard a hacker. After arriving in the designated meeting place, they meet their client, Walnut, disguised in a comical squirrel costume. He pleads for their protection, fearing for his life in a briefcase containing crucial information. As they travel by car, another hacker named Robata takes control of the vehicle, attempting to plunge them into the ocean. Chisato and the hot-headed smooth-brained Takina expertly disable the pursuing drones, and Walnut manages to regain control just before the car closely falls at the ocean. As the car couldn't seem able to function, they are forced to abandon the car. They take refuge in a building where they face a fierce assault from a group of mercenaries. During the fight, Takina is impressed by Chisato's incredible combat skills. Together, they overpower the mercenaries. Chisato, ever compassionate, even tends to a wound inflicted by Takina on one of the defeated attackers. The wounded mercenary offered Chisato a cryptic warning, advising her to turn back as danger lurked ahead. Unfortunately, it was too late for warnings. Walnut, eager to help, had already opened the door, exposing himself to a hail of gunfire. The retarded attackers retreated after seemingly eliminating Walnut inside an ambulance. Defeated, Chisato and Takina slumped in despair, believing they'd failed their mission. Suddenly, a twist. The seemingly deceased Walnut spoke to them from within the ambulance, much to their shock. He then revealed himself to be Mizuki in disguise. The bulletproof squirrel suit offering protection. Emerging from Mizuki's suitcase was the true Walnut, a young girl. The mission, it turned out, was a success. The enemy believed they had killed Walnut while the real target remained safe. News of Walnut's supposed demise spread. The man who tried to kill him and Robota, the rival hacker, celebrated Walnut's death. Chisato soon understood that Walnut, now adopting the alias Kurumi, would need to stay with them for a while. She tasked Kurumi with using her skills to identify the man in the photo Sayori had provided. The man from the Allen Institute returned to Mika's coffee shop, inquiring about their work. A flashback was seen in what we know was a false weapon deal that Inoue acted rashly in. After seeing herself punched by one of her former teammates, we flash back to the current point in time when Inoue is washing her face solemnly. We see Kurumi hard at work enhancing the image that Chisato sent from the client's phone, able to surpass what Mizuki says the DA was able to make out of it. The scene then cuts to Chisato returning to Lycoreko, announcing the after-hours board game night. Kurumi joins in with the regulars. However, when Inoue is invited to play along, she rejects their invitations. Mika finds Inoue returning to her quarters. However, she rebuffs his attempt to communicate, as well as Chisato's attempts to get Inoue to join in on the fun. Just outside of Inoue's door, Mika asks Chisato if she will take her physical fitness exam tomorrow, as it's the last day to take it, and knowing the commander will be there is what gets Inoue to jump into the conversation and ask if she can come along with Chisato. Once they arrive, they are scanned in to confirm their identities, and immediately Chisato signs in for the test. Before the receptionist can ask Inoue why she's there, Inoue interrupts and asks to see the ugly virgin commander, Kusunoki. Inoue is told by the receptionist that the commander is in a meeting and is not available at this time. Some ugly loser girls begin to whisper behind Inoue's back, although it seems that rumors of what Inoue did are beginning to warp and claim she is known as the friend killer. Inoue then confirms she will wait until Commander Kusunoki is out of her meeting to speak with her, shaking off what she's heard. In the locker room where Chisato is changing before her physical exam, she engages in familiar banter with the short-haired girl who punched Inoue in the first episode. Meanwhile, we flash to Inoue, who is practicing with a pistol in an indoor shooting range while she waits for the commander. Once again, we return to Chisato, who is still talking to the short-haired girl, whose name is revealed to be Fuki. Chisato and Fuki talk about Inoue's desire to get back into the DA. Chisato discusses how she doesn't understand why Inoue would want to return, while Fuki calls Chisato the weird one for not desiring to be with the DA that raised her from orphanhood. Chisato continues to say she does appreciate being raised by the DA. However, she also appreciates her freedom. The girls continue similar banter as Chisato passes the exam without breaking a sweat, and Fuki becomes more and more exhausted, as well as frustrated with how the seemingly lazy Chisato continues to get perfect and above average marks. Commander Kusunoki approaches the girls as they are resting on a bench. The commander states that Chisato doesn't fulfill her duties as a Lycoris and asks why she would want to keep her DA license. Chisato reminds her that she does still work for the DA, even if on a different scale than before. Chisato then abruptly asks why the commander let go of Inoue. Commander Kusunoki begins to explain, only to be interrupted by Chisato defending her new friend, Inoue. When the commander further blames Inoue for being the reason they lost out on the weapons deal, Chisato provides proof that it was the DA who had the wrong time, and therefore, the loss was not Inoue's fault. After back and forth squabbling, the commander deflects the question and leaves. Returning to Inoue's target practice, another upbeat Lycoris introduces herself to Inoue as Sakura Otome. She holds her hand out to shake Inoue's, but when Inoue reluctantly returns the favor, Sakura grasps her hand tightly to keep her from stepping away and inquiring about the rumors surrounding how Inoue was kicked out of the DA. After mocking her and ignoring Inoue's attempts to state the truth, Sakura announces herself as Inoue's successor. Just as Sakura is bullying Inoue, Chisato pulls her away. The ugly virgin commander Kusunoki walks in after this, and Inoue immediately tries to clear her name for the commander. Commander Kusunoki shuts down her attempts to clear her name. Fuki then states that there is no more use for Inoue at the DA, adding further fuel to the fire. Inoue runs away to a quiet place, only to be found by Chisato moments later. Inoue reminisces about her dreams when she was a young Lycoris, and Chisato comforts her. Chisato tells Inoue more about what she learned about the night Inoue rebelled, explaining her theory behind the radio interference as not being mere technical issues but a hack. Chisato further explains that the DA will never admit a flaw in their technology or in themselves, so there's no point in fighting it. Inoue tries to run away, but Chisato hugs her distressed friend, telling her gently that it may be time to move on from the DA's grasp. The scene flashes to Erika. One of the other Lycorices tells her about the mock fight between Fuki, Sakura, Chisato, and Inoue, but the loser, Erika, is upset that Inoue was misunderstood at the moment and blames her capture for why Inoue was fired. After hearing Inoue will be in the mock fight, Erika rushes to watch. After a witty battle between Chisato, Fuki, and Sakura, it is revealed that Inoue hasn't shown up yet and is still sulking. The mock fight begins without her, and the remaining competitors begin to shoot each other with paintball guns. Both Fuki and Sakura are no match for Chisato, who is dodging and holding back in hopes that Inoue will return and prove herself. Inoue does eventually return, just as Chisato shoots Sakura with a few paintballs, eliminating the loser, Sakura, from the game and leaving Inoue to take down Fuki, her former partner. Erika, who is watching from above with the other licorices, is stunned. Chisato tells Inoue she did pretty well, and Commander Fusunoki and her assistant discuss Chisato's superhuman ability to dodge anything that projected her away, practically gloating about her before calling her a cheeky little brat and then smiling. The scene returns to Inoue, who is engaging with Fuki, whose face is swollen. The loser Fuki calls her useless as a Lycoris once again, although this time Inoue is not bothered, leaving Fuki fuming in the bathroom when Sakura is apologizing for her lackluster performance. Erika is back to sulking in her room, this time unsure of what she would say to Inoue if she saw her again. Chisato and Inoue talk on the way home. Inoue is smiling for the first time. Sometime later, while playing video games, Chisato notices Takina wearing what appear to be men's undergarments.
No! God, please, no! No!
Takina defends her choice, citing comfort and the lack of women's undergarments. As Chisato hears what Takina said, Chisato offers to take Takina shopping for proper undergarments. Meanwhile, Kurumi delves deeper into investigating the men in the photo and the missing batch of weapons. The next day, Chisato takes Takina shopping for undergarments. After their shopping spree and lunch, they visit an aquarium to see a variety of fish. During their activity at the aquarium, Chisato mentions she's searching for someone, perhaps to express gratitude. Back at the coffee shop, Mika and the man from the Allen Institute discuss Chisato. The man reveals he entrusted Chisato to Mika's care, acknowledging her exceptional combat skills. Meanwhile, at a subway station, a group of armed men led by a green-haired individual arrive full of guns inside a suitcase. Chisato and Takina witness a large number of Lycoris agents and police restricting access to the station. The hot-headed dumbass Takina expresses a desire to intervene, but Chisato reminds her that she lacks her official uniform and authorization. At the subway station, a group of armed men led by a green-haired figure opened fire on an arriving train. They soon discover the train is empty and are then attacked by Lycoris agents hidden inside, who start firing back at them.
Nice.
The ugly, virgin, green-haired leader escapes the chaos by detonating a bomb, collapsing the station, and burying his men and the Lycoris agents under tons of rubble. Back at the coffee shop, Mika and the others watch news reports of the accident at the subway station. Chisato is discarding Takina's boxer shorts when she reconsiders Takina's words about comfort and mobility. She decides to try them on herself. At that moment, Mizuki enters the room, and much to her amusement, she sees Chisato putting on the boxers. Mizuki starts to tease Chisato, who defends herself by telling her that the boxers belong to Takina. Meanwhile, the injured green-haired man, revealed to be named Majima, checks news reports on his phone. He's surprised to learn the incident is being labeled an accident. Robota, a rival hacker, contacts him via phone, explaining that events involving Lycoris are always covered up. Robota offers to work with Majima, who declines, stating he needs to accomplish something that can't be hidden. At the coffee shop, Kurumi and Mizuki watch the president address the nation regarding the accident. Kurumi speculates the president might be unaware of the truth. Chisato briefs the others on their new assignment, protecting a man visiting Japan from the US. The man, Mr. Matsushita, is a wheelchair-bound ALS patient who wishes to see Japan before passing away. Information reveals his family was murdered, and an attempt was made on his life as well. Mr. Matsushita, an elderly man in a wheelchair communicating via computer, arrives at the coffee shop. He is a person that they should protect at all costs. Chisato reveals to Takina that he has a mechanical heart. As Chisato, Takina, and Mr. Matsushita visit tourist spots around Tokyo, Mika and Kurumi notice a man named Jin following them. They send Mizuki to pick up the group, but Jin intercepts her. Chisato and Takina are warned about Jin's pursuit. Takina separates from the group to confront Jin, whose location is obtained through a tracker placed on him by Mizuki. Takina attempts to stop Jin, but he overpowers her. Jin seeks to kill Mr. Matsushita. When Mr. Matsushita reunites with the group, he pleads with Chisato to eliminate Jin, the murderer of his family 2 decades ago. Chisato engages Jin in a fight, ultimately subduing him with several rubber bullets. Mr. Matsushita asks Chisato to kill him as he recognizes him as one of the children rescued by Allen and an organization with a mission to accomplish. However, Chisato refuses, stating her desire to save lives rather than take them, reflecting on her own past, rescued by someone long ago. Hearing that, Mr. Matsushida's voice synthesizer on his wheelchair suddenly alarmed him enough to shut down. Mika questions Jin about his employer. Jin reveals that a wealthy woman hired him for the job. Mizuki's investigation uncovers Mr. Matsushida's true identity, a terminally ill patient who vanished from a hospital. Kurumi adds another piece to the puzzle, revealing that someone degenerate used technology to impersonate Mr. Matsushita at night. A lone Lycoris agent was sent to eliminate a man, but before she accomplished her task, she was run over and killed by ugly retard Majima and his underlings. Sometime later, news came up discussing several agents of Lycoris being killed, including the ugly virgin Kusunoki. Takina, learning of the killings from a freelance Lycoris, decides to stay with Chisato for a while. Meanwhile, Majima meets with Rabuta, the rival hacker. Robota reveals information about the Lycoris agents, including a picture of Chisato as the next target. Angry at Robota's refusal to disclose the Lycoris headquarters location, Majima gives him 3 days to find it or face death. Robota seeks help from the Allen Institute, but is denied due to the self-inflicted nature of his predicament. As the girls wait for Kurumi to download information from the DA servers, Robota investigates Chisato and discovers her home address. 2 ugly virgins sneak into Chisato's apartment, but are swiftly eliminated by her. Witnessing this via drone, Robota believes Majima will be interested. At that moment, Majima enters Robota's room with murderous intent and totally plans to kill him, but suddenly becomes intrigued upon seeing Chisato's video on the screen. Kurumi tells Chisato that the people who are attacking the Lycoris have a connection, or the same ones between the missing weapons. Chisato wonders how they were able to discover the Lycoris, but they speculate the attackers might recognize the Lycoris uniforms. Chisato dons a coat to hide her uniform so that they can't identify her, and she proceeds to leave the coffee shop. Kurumi deduces how the attackers identified the slain Lycoris agents, revealing a photo showing the 4 victims together and another photo of Chisato from the Allen Institute archives. Realizing the danger Chisato is in, Mika warns her. Just then, the sound of a car crash is heard through the phone. Takina rushes towards where Chisato is, while Majima emerges from his car and spots Chisato unconscious on the ground. He notices the Allen Institute necklace she wears. Thinking fast, Chisato uses her coat to deceive the enemy and escape. Majima pursues her in his car. Chisato stops running, planning to shoot Majima. Majima is 1 step ahead of her, pulling the trigger first. With incredible agility, she dodges the bullet and retaliates, hitting him with non-lethal rounds. Approaching the wounded Majima, Chisato is blinded by a spit of blood. The ugly virgin Majima asks Chisato, questioning her purpose since she's an Allen child, as Majima was planning to shoot her. Just in time, Takina intervenes, shooting Majima and his ugly men, saving Chisato. Mika and Mizuki arrive in their car, picking up Chisato and Takina. As they leave the scene, one of Majima's remaining men fires a rocket launcher, but Kurumi uses a drone to knock him off balance, causing the rocket to change its trajectory and hit close to Majima. Chisato and the others manage to escape safely. Later, Majima returns to Robota's room, expressing satisfaction with his work. He then demands further investigation regarding all things Chisato. Chisato and Inoue are drawing their interpretations of what Majima looks like to show Kusunoki in the form of a police sketch. Although the girls' drawings have some discrepancies, they just laugh it all out. On the other hand, Majima, who is reviewing the footage taken of Chisato the night before, comments on her insane ability to dodge bullets. While in the back doing cafe work, Chisato notices a suspicious text flash on Mika's screen saying, "I want to talk about Chisato's future," just before Mika picks up his phone and asks her what's wrong. While in the bathroom, Chisato ponders what the text message could mean. Chisato continues to wonder about the text message throughout the day. Inoue points out that she's been acting strange all day. However, she ignores Inoue's comment and asks where Mika is. Randomly, Chisato voiced out her thoughts, saying that Lyco Reco might close down. After getting the rest of the girls riled up, Chisato has Kurumi look up what the location mentioned in the text was, and it turns out to be a bar. The scene then changes to a lone car in the middle of the night, where Majima is communicating with Robota. Majima realizes that he, who was the ugly derp terrorist who attacked the radio tower, was apprehended by Chisato at the time. Majima also talks about a USB given to him by Robota that he will plug into the chief commander's computer to hack into their database with. Meanwhile, at the DA, there are many emergencies being handled at once by staff. Radiata has confirmed multiple explosives in the area, which are revealed to be fake footage planted by Robota to separate the Lycorises into multiple missions and keep them far from the DA's headquarters. However, this is figured out too late by the DA, who has already sent out Lycorises by the time Majima arrives at the DA. Back at Lycoreco, the next day the girls are in the cafe as the news reports on the incident. Fuki and Sakura arrive at Lycoreco looking for our best girl, Chisato, and immediately show Chisato footage from the previous night's attack by the ugly virgin Majima. Mika arrives at the front of the cafe and takes Sakura's order as Chisato identifies which man is Majima. The confirmation is sent straight to the DA. Fuki and Sakura are then ordered to come back. On the other hand, Mika leaves to run on what he calls an errand, which is really his secret meeting with Yoshimatsu. The girls hurriedly pack their bags to follow Mika. On the way, Inoue points out that someone in the news today had the same owl necklace as Chisato. Chisato and Inoue sneak into the bar, disguised. Just as last time Mika was at the bar, he is meeting with Yoshimatsu, which shocks the girls. The girls assume that since Mika is dressed up nicely, he must be on a date with Yoshimatsu, and they flee the restaurant, assuming that they are intruding. Yoshimatsu and Mika started to discuss why Yoshimatsu placed Chisato under Mika after Chisato's surgery. Chisato manages to catch Yoshimatsu talking about how the Allen Institute is what saved her, and how her heart is the fruit of Allen's talents. After Chisato heard this, she stepped out of hiding and addressed Yoshimatsu, asking to speak with him. Chisato thanks Yoshimatsu for saving her life, saying she's been searching for the person who saved her to show her gratitude. Kurumi and Miyaki show up, causing a small scene, and Yoshimatsu leaves, telling Chisato to ask Mika. Mika goes after Yoshimatsu instead, leaving Chisato alone in the bar. Mika and Yoshimatsu have a private conversation in the elevator. Mika attempts to beg for Chisato to have more time. Yoshimatsu disagrees, saying Chisato's abilities are not something a human should be able to possess. When Yoshimatsu reminds Mika of a promise he made, Mika pulls his gun out on Yoshimatsu, saying, "Free Chisato!" with his pistol pointed at Yoshimatsu's face. Mika is unable to pull the trigger, however, and Yoshimatsu begins to leave. Chisato is fiddling with her necklace. Chisato asks why Mika didn't tell her sooner, and Mika explains that secrecy was the stipulation for being able to save Chisato's life. Mika apologizes, and Chisato forgives him cheerfully. All the employees of Lyco Reco realize that after Inoue does the math, Chisato's dent in the cafe. Between her freely giving out food as well as her exorbitant Lycoris expenses, Lyco Reco is losing money. Inoue decides she will be in charge of Lyco Reco's expenses from then on. One day, Chisato and Inoue are assigned on a mission, where Inoue is chastising Chisato about how much cleaning up after the damage will cost, and mentioning that Chisato is going through too many of her specialty bullets. At Lyco Reco sometime later, Inoue is chiding Mizuki into leaving the fridge open, stating that it's a waste of electricity. She continues correcting other employees at Lyco Reco regarding their habits that could be costing the company money and obsessing over every potential cost. Later, at a meeting gone wrong, Chisato and Inoue have to threaten a group of losers into paying them for disarming a bomb that the group was trying to get out of paying. In hopes of further maximizing their earnings, Inoue comes up with a new menu item, which begins to sell rapidly. In fact, it's going viral on social media. This drives more and more customers to Lyco Reco. During the rush, Chisato gets a call saying she's missed her physical exam for the DA again, and she says she will get to it some other time. It is revealed at the office where the physical exam would take place that Himagama is pretending to be a nurse, presumably for Yoshimatsu's plan. Chisato and Inoue are now running various Lycoris errands around town. After collecting money from the small gigs, they return to the cafe and discover that Lyco Reco is making significant profits again. To celebrate, they get a smooth brain AI waiter to improve customer service. Inoue also decides to start investing in stocks with Kurumi. On the day Chisato was about to take her physical exam, Inoue got a call and turned out to be Chisato's doctor. She claims Chisato never arrived, but Inoue says she had left specifically to go to her exam. The scene changes, showing Chisato held hostage in her apartment with the ugly virgin Majima, who is holding a gun up to Chisato's head. Chisato answers her phone, telling Inoue to pass it on to Chisato's doctor that she will be late. After this, Chisato hangs up and gets to talking with Majima. Majima asks if Chisato remembers him, and Chisato replies as a person who spit on him during their fight. Mahima implies he met her long before that and reminds her about the radio tower incident Chisato is infamous for. We see scenes of young Mahima, blindfolded but able to tell where they are going to be attacked during the incident. All except for, of course, Chisato. She is too fast for his senses. She is cold, and during the radio tower incident, she was killing people left and right. Back then, she was using real bullets and taking lives, a sharp contrast to her bubbly and pacifist attitude in the present. Back in the present, Majima reveals his Allen Institute necklace. Chisato questions why he's doing awful things if he's part of the same group, leaving the ugly virgin Majima confused. Majima begins to explain that the Allen Institute isn't the organization Chisato has worked up in her head. Majima leaves just as Inoue arrives, narrowly dodging her. Back at Lyco Reco, Chisato explains everything that happened while she was held captive by Majima. While the group questions her, Mika looks lost in thought. The next day, Chisato is at her physical exam. Himagama is the one giving her the shot. After Chisato explains that she's scared of shots, she begins to lose her vision. Chisato passes out, with Himagama successfully able to handle her carefully as she was instructed to. Back at Lyco Reco, they realize Chisato hasn't arrived for her shift. just as Himagama is about to perform surgery on Chisato's unconscious body. Inoue tries to call, and since Chisato doesn't answer, she assumes that once again Chisato is in danger and prepares to find her. We can see Inoue running and searching for Chisato. Just as Himagama is finishing what she's doing to Chisato, Inoue arrives and begins shooting at Himagama. Himagama shoots a nearby window and shatters it before jumping out on the street below and escaping. Inoue, having lost her target, turns to Chisato. She cries out her name, but Chisato doesn't answer. Later that day, Chisato awakens in a hospital room, with Inoue waiting by her side. Also in her room are Mika, Mizuki, and Kurumi. Chisato's doctor explains that by electrocuting her artificial heart, Himagama rendered it inaccessible. Now Chisato's heart is unable to be recharged, and she has 2 months left before the heart gives out. After Inoue begins to speak out, Chisato's doctor says they do not have the technology to make a new heart for Chisato, and that there is nothing they can do to save her. Later the next day, Chisato receives a call from Reko asking her to come to the DA since Kusunoki has been pestering her about something she has for Chisato. When Chisato arrives, Kusunoki has already heard of Chisato's conditions, as well as her recent meetings with Majima. Kusunoki also gives Chisato her camera back before mentioning that there will be a large-scale operation to suppress the ugly virgin Majima soon. Kusunoki also asks Chisato to join in on the operation. Chisato calls the proposition a joke and leaves. The scene changes to Reko, where Sakura and Fuki are arriving. Fuki hands a note to Inoue before telling her she should reply to it by tomorrow. When Inoue asks what it is, lonely loser Fuki tells her it is most likely an order for her to return since they need more Lycorises to fight against Majima. Then we see Chisato and Inoue after they have seemingly taken down thugs in an alley together. Chisato is on the phone with Miyuki, confirming the mission is a success. Inoue is repeatedly stressing about how hard Chisato is working herself with her heart's battery so low. Once again returning to Reko, Mika is smoking. When Kurumi inquires about it, Mika says that he smokes when he feels guilty. After idle chit-chat, Kurumi says she came in to talk to Mika about the Allen Institute since even her superior hacking skills have turned up no information. Inoue walks in, soaked in rain, just as they are talking in another room. While Inoue is listening in, Mika tells the tale of 10 years ago, and we are greeted with the image of Yoshimatsu. The scene changes once more and reveals the image we are seeing is from Chisato's camera, before turning into a flashback where Chisato is young. She is in the paintball arena again, this time with the large group of Lycorises ganging up on her. She takes them out flawlessly. Both Yoshimatsu and Mika are watching her through a tablet screen. While Yoshimatsu marvels at her talent, Mika mentions she has congenital heart disease and will die in 6 months. Yoshimatsu says he will not let that happen. Yoshimatsu presents Mika with an artificial heart. Yoshimatsu mentions it most likely won't last until adulthood, and Mika replies, saying most Lycorises don't last that long anyway. In another flashback, Mika is coming to meet Yoshimatsu in a hotel room, where Yoshimatsu asks if he is willing to raise a child. Yoshimatsu asks Mika to raise Chisato, and Mika agrees. In yet another flashback, we see wholesome interactions between Chisato and Yoshimatsu, who are attempting to hide their relationship to her heart. Chisato insists she knows it's him, and she calls him her savior. Furthermore, Chisato promises to be a savior just like him. In another flashback, this time from Chisato's perspective, we see her moments before her heart surgery. Not only is Mika there to reassure her, but Yoshimatsu is also comforting her and patting her head. When Chisato awakens from surgery, she's given a gift, a pistol and the owl necklace from her savior. In the present, Inoue reveals that she and Mizuki were listening the whole time. When Kurumi agrees that capturing Majima could be the best way to get to Yoshimatsu and the Allen Institute, Inoue mentions she had intended on declining the DA's offer to return. Inoue says this is because it is Chisato's last few months of life, and she wanted to stay here for that. But Inoue also says she will return if it means there is a chance to save Chisato. The scene changes to Robota's office, where Majima has surprised him. Majima threatens Robota and asks who Yoshimatsu is. Once he finds out, Majima says he has a plan. Meanwhile, back at Reko, Inoue has asked to take the day off with Chisato. They spend the day out together, shopping, at the arcade, and more. Eventually the day comes to an end, and Inoue plans to tell Chisato she's returning to the DA. However, Chisato asks Inoue before Inoue can even spill the beans, because Chisato is excited that Inoue finally gets her wish. Chisato and Inoue continue to talk outside in the cold, mentioning how Inoue thought it was going to snow, and Chisato hands down her large and fluffy scarf for Inoue to have as a parting gift. Inoue leaves, but just as she's doing so, snowflakes begin to fall. She turns back to Chisato, who is smiling knowingly. Inoue smiles back before leaving. We see Kurumi and Mizuki searching for ways to track down the creator of Chisato's artificial heart. When Chisato interrupts her searching, Kurumi panics. She doesn't want Chisato to see what she's searching for. Chisato reveals that she interrupted Kurumi to tell her that Lyco will be closing. Chisato then asks everyone else where they will go when Lyco closes. Meanwhile, Inoue is back at the DA. In sharp contrast to the beginning of the series, when she was determined and passionate regarding the DA, she now looks solemn. All the Lycorises are receiving a presentation of Majima. It's revealed in the presentation that the DA now knows Majima's location. Kusunoki, who is giving the presentation, orders all Lycorises to find and kill Majima. While the presentation is being given, Majima is at the location the DA knows he's at, studying files on Chisato. Sitting in the back of the room, Majima is holed up in Yoshimatsu, tied up to the point of immobility. Majima repeatedly taunts Yoshimatsu, while Robota chimes in occasionally. Yoshimatsu insinuates that Majima was a good children. Majima threatens Yoshimatsu. However, the ugly virgin Majima falters. Majima then claims Yoshimatsu is just as manipulative as the DA, whom Majima claims also manipulates from the shadows for a false sense of justice. Majima questions him further, to no avail. Back at Lyco, Chisato is bidding farewell to Kurumi and Mizuki. After the taxi leaves, Chisato returns inside to clean up Lyco with Mika. Back at the taxi, however, Kurumi is glancing out the window, seeming forlorn, as she discusses with Mizuki how there's nothing they can do if Chisato doesn't want it. Meanwhile, Inoue is questioning one of Majima's goons who was imprisoned. She manages to squeeze enough information out of him to confirm the weapons deal was with the Allen Institute, and then dashes away. Meanwhile, the scene returns to Lyco. There's a sign on the door that says Lyco will be closed for a while. Chisato is flipping through a photo album, reminiscing about when she was little. She asks Mika what he will do now, referencing the fact that she will die soon. After Chisato mentions he could hire part-time workers to keep the cafe running, Mika asks if that's what Chisato wants. While the audience doesn't get to see her answer, we do see her bidding a proper farewell to Lyco. She tells Mika she really does feel lonely. Mika offers to brew coffee, and she accepts. Returning to Inoue, we see she is out on a mission with Sakura and Fuki. In the room they assume Majima to be in, there is only a television screen with a live stream feed featuring Majima taunting the Lycorises that followed the main girls. After Majima talks back and forth with Kusunoki, who is chaperoning the Lycorises, it is revealed that back at the DA, they are trying to find the source of the live stream. Just as Majima is about to log off, Inoue steps forward to interrupt. Majima then talks to Inoue, recognizing her from before, but doesn't give her the information about Yoshimatsu that she's requesting. Back at Lyco, a customer is distraught that the cafe is temporarily closing down. Many more customers come, each more upset than the last. Meanwhile, Lycorises surround the new Enkuboku Tower, surrounded by a crowd excited about the grand opening. Once again returning to Lyco, Mika reveals a kimono he bought for Chisato's coming-of-age ceremony, stating it's a little earlier than he intended to give it to her. After Mika takes pictures of Chisato in her ceremonial garb, he tells her more about Yoshimatsu. The scene changes to drones chasing down Majima's car. A group of Lycorises, including Fuki, Sakura, and Inoue, all wait just outside an elevator inside the Enkuboku Tower. Just as they expect the elevator to open, it skips the level the Lycorises are on. The DA becomes frantic. The ugly virgin Majima has already taken down everyone on the top floor. Before we can see what the Lycorises do to respond to the event, we return to Mika, who is confessing he took Chisato on originally to profit as a commander. Mika begins to break down, saying he couldn't bear to tell our best girl Chisato the truth about Yoshimatsu originally because it was her admiration of him that made her so strong and determined. Chisato reassures him that her gratitude hasn't changed for either of them, calling both Yoshimatsu and Mika her dads. She is truly thankful for everything, even knowing what Mika's past intentions were, because she knows his true feelings now are what actually matter. At the grand opening ceremony of the Enkuboku Tower, just as the ceremonial countdown ends, the ugly derp Majima interrupts the celebratory presentation. Mika begins to expose the false peace that the citizens have been duped to believe in, stating that Japan has the same terrorist problems as other countries. They just have organizations that succeed in covering up these incidents. It's revealed that Majima has hidden guns all around the surrounding area to prove his point, revealing what the weapons deal was actually for, arming the people. One man who isn't experienced in handling a gun accidentally shoots himself. Majima encourages the populace to do as they please. Back at the DA, Kusunoki is reprimanded by her superior for not having deployed Chisato yet. She hasn't revealed to this man that they have been unable to employ her. Kusunoki attempts to call Chisato, who gets a FaceTime call from Robota, revealing to her that Yoshimatsu has been captured by them. Chisato doesn't agree with the smooth-brained Kusunoki, but instead decides to save Yoshimatsu on Mika's insistence that Inoue and Fuki will protect Enkuboku just fine. Inoue watched a presentation on Majima by Kusunoki with fellow Lycorises. Sitting next to her is Erika, who is excited that she's returned. At Chisato's smartphone, there is a photo of Yoshimatsu tied up to a chair when Inoue looks. When Kurumi says she believes that Chisato and Mika are on the way to the old radio tower, Inoue wonders aloud if it's a trap. The other Lycorises get mad at Inoue for lagging behind during these communications. Inoue apologizes and says she needs to go. The other Lycorises get defensive, except for Erika. Erika offers to take Inoue's place, but is then mocked by Sakura. Erika runs away, chased by an unnamed Lycoris. Fuki steps forward and tells Inoue that if she leaves, she loses her place in the DA. Inoue stays determined to save Chisato, even if it means losing her past ambitions. Inoue heads to the old radio tower as fast as she can run. Returning to Fuki, Sakura, and the rest of the Lycorises, they continue sneaking up the tower, ready to take Majima on. When the Lycorises arrive, they find that the other group of Lycorises has taken down all the thugs they could find upstairs. In another faraway place, Robota presses a button to launch a live feed of Majima, which startles the Lycorises. As it turns out, this live stream is also seen around the local area, much like the last one that brought up the guns hidden around the city. Majima uses this live stream to show the public Lycorises. Lycorises were kept a secret from the public beforehand, but Majima has blown the lid off of that. In public, a crowd of people realizes a Lycoris is standing among them and shoots their newly found gun at the dazed Lycoris. Majima continues to degrade the public's view of Lycoris. The robot vacuums that were cleaning up after the bloody massacre at the top floor of the new tower begin beeping, and just as the Lycorises realize they're bombs, the vacuums explode. She tells Mika that she will go into the old radio tower alone. While talking to Mika, she shoots a drone without looking at it and continues the conversation. Chisato then goes inside the tower and effortlessly takes down Majima's goons along the way. After daring attempts at jumping around broken pieces of the tower thousands of feet in the air, she makes it to the top floor and finds Yoshimatsu. Before she can celebrate, the ugly virgin Majima snaps his fingers, and large metal shields cover all the windows. Majima shoots at Chisato, who dodges, leaving the bullets to hit Yoshimatsu. Majima informs Chisato about how he exposed the world of Lycorises. The two engage in a duel, both utilizing their extraordinary abilities. Out of nowhere, Inoue bursts through the wall and helps Chisato fight with Majima until the two end at a standstill. The fight against Majima goes on. Majima was only a step away from the dark, where his hearing gave him the edge. They still eventually managed to exploit his heightened senses. Chisato fired 2 shots near the ugly virgin Majima's ears, incapacitating Majima. Chisato manages to hit Majima, and Takina makes sure his arms are restrained. Elsewhere, the DA director was informed about Takina capturing Majima. Sadly, before she was able to order her team to go kill the criminal, one of Japan's government officials arrived to inform her that all the Lycoris agents would have to be disposed of as they were compromised. As Chisato reunited with Yoshimatsu, she immediately asked if he was all right, to which Yoshimatsu assured her that he was fine, which made Chisato relive. Yoshimatsu then asks Chisato if she did manage to kill Majima. Our best girl, Chisato, didn't respond, but her eyes were full of disappointment. Yoshimatsu was enraged as she wasn't able to kill Majima. It was clear that Yoshimatsu only saved her because of her talent, something that can be useful for him. Chisato kept refusing to kill, as she only wanted to save people like he did for her when she was a child. Yoshimatsu only sees her as a doll, which made Chisato more disappointed. Yoshimatsu then asked for Chisato's gun and pointed it at her directly. The derp Yoshimatsu pulled the trigger, but Chisato managed to dodge it. Takina then enters the scene and fires back at Yoshimatsu as a warning shot. Takina then explains how Yoshimatsu used Majima to lure Chisato. Takina further elaborates on the exact plan Yoshimatsu devised so that Chisato could kill. Takina voiced her eagerness to get a briefcase that might contain Chisato's heart. Yoshimatsu then revealed that the heart that Chisato needs is currently with him. He then ordered Chisato to kill him in order to save her life. Yoshimatsu was eager to offer even his life so that Chisato could kill. Suddenly, Takina steps up, even willing to do Chisato's work of killing him, but is stopped by Chisato. Out of nowhere, a knife landed right between the two girls, thrown by Yoshi's ugly assistant, Himagama. Without hesitation, the woman attacked Takina, sending her flying through a window. Yoshi told Chisato to use her gun, which was loaded with real ammunition this time, if she wanted to save her friend. Takina and Himagama were fighting on a steel beam that was hanging from the old radio tower. The older woman was several times more skilled than Takina, which allowed her to push the girl over the edge. The Lycoris agent barely managed to hang on to the edge of the beam to keep from falling. Seeing her friend in danger, Chisato jumped down onto the beam, taking Himagama down in seconds. Sadly, this was not enough to save Takina, as Yoshimatsu started shooting at the girls from inside the building. Without any other option, Chisato had to shoot the man who saved her. Takina was finally able to climb up the beam once again. Chisato entered the radio tower to talk with her father figure. She told Yoshimatsu that she would never resort to killing, as that was not who she was. Chisato thanked the man, as his artificial heart gave her the time to find the people who were precious to her. Himagama entered the tower seconds after the pair finished talking with Takina on her trail. Chisato had to prevent her best friend from killing the brain-dead Yoshimatsu, since Takina Takina was determined to obtain his heart for Chisato. In the end, Chisato was capable of calming her partner, telling her she was not going to be happy if Yoshimatsu had to die for her. Kurumi picks up Takina and Chisato in a helicopter. The young hacker informed her friends about a new mission, saving the Lycoris agents from the DA and the Lily Bell boys. Chisato remembered the time in which the male counterpart of the Lycoris tried to kill her for deflecting. From there, inside the radio tower, Fuki and her squad were waiting for the surviving Lycoris members to join them on the upper floors. Outside, a helicopter with all the Lily Bell agents inside was heading towards the radio tower. The boys were informed that their mission was to kill all the surviving Lycoris agents. Back inside the building, Yuki noticed something that seemed strange about the orders they were given. The brunette told her teammates to take the surviving girls away from the building. She asked Sakura to accompany her to the control room, telling her only the two of them would be inside the tower when the DA arrived. Setting Kusunoki up for being exposed to Sato and Takina helping Fuki's team seize the control room, Sato plugs in an override USB Kurumi gave her with the Kurumi read-offs. Her Walnut persona counterhacks Robota, getting him arrested and reactivating Radiata, which broadcasts a message explaining the gunfight in Inokabu as an elaborate publicity stunt with DA's secret safe. The government calls. Off the Lily Bell as Takina and the other Lycoris prepare to leave Inokabu. Suddenly, Majima arrives, having freed himself from his captors. With Lycoris absent, Chisato and ugly bastard Majima face off again. Majima shuts down the power to Enkuboku to prevent anybody from interfering with his duel with Chisato, and reveals that he holds the detonator for a bomb that will destroy the tower in 1 hour. Meanwhile, because the elevator can only run on auxiliary power, Takina decides to scale the tower to help Chisato, while Fuki takes an injured Sakura for treatment. Chisato and the ugly bastard Majima prove to be equally matched until Chisato's heart begins to malfunction. Wanting a fair battle, Majima calls for a temporary truce, and the two briefly discuss their motivations. Majima sees himself as an equalizer who must tear down DA and its lies, while Chisato simply wants to help the people close to her. Unable to reconcile their differences, they resume their battle. Back at the old radio tower, Mika confronts Yoshimatsu and Himagawa and easily defeats Himagawa in combat, revealing he had been faking his leg injury the entire time. He then reluctantly kills Yoshimatsu to obtain the new heart. In Inokabu, Majima manages to injure Chisato due to her focusing on trying to get the detonator. Takina then intervenes, giving Chisato the opportunity to throw Majima off the tower, resulting in his apparent death. Takina is narrowly able to prevent Chisato from falling off herself. Sometime after the Inokabu incident and the lifting of martial law to maintain peace, society largely accepted Radiata's cover story, and life has gone back to normal. Kusunoki continues to track down the guns Majima had hidden throughout the city. Majima himself is revealed to still be alive. Takina later tracks down Chisato, who had run away from the hospital, thinking she was going to die. Takina explains that Mika recovered the new heart that was implanted into Chisato, extending her life. However, Mika kept secret the fact he killed the brain-dead Yoshimatsu for the heart, leading Sato to believe Yoshimatsu lied about implanting the heart inside himself. When Takina asks Chisato what she wants to do now, she decides to travel to Hawaii. What would you think Chisato would do when she knew that she lived after Shinji's death? Let us know if you want part 2 by commenting in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you guys in the next video.